What do we have at the foundation of the reading? The Devil, Capricorn energy at the foundation of the reading. Right now, I feel that a lot of you have entered into a new timeline in your life where you're starting to recognize more signs and synchronicities than at any other time in your life. I truly feel that the divine is leaving a lot of clues for all of you to help align you with your mission, to help align you with your purpose as a means to fulfill your destiny. And right on the bottom of the deck, I have the Six of Pentacles, Taurus energy, which is the divine leaving you these clues, right? See how this individual here is giving this individual here pentacles, right? It's like breadcrumbs, it's like ideas, it's signs. Okay, so this is very much the energy that I'm picking up for all of you. And the reason for all of this, Devil at the foundation of the reading, is to help lead us out of the darkness. Now, that's an interesting thing to say because it suggests that we're all in a kind of darkness. And you may say to yourself, well, I'm outside, the sun is shining. But this is more energetic in nature, okay? We all live inside this kind of simulation, inside this kind of matrix. And the way that we're able to make it out of this is not so much physically speaking, but more energetically, which has an influence on our perception of our current reality. It's really an energy of awakening inside of the matrix. And I get a lot of people asking me if they're chosen or how do they know if they're chosen. Now, there's many different things that will tell you if you've been chosen for something. But one of the first things is you will feel called to implement change yourself, however that shows up for you, whether it's in your community, whether it's in your family, whether it's in your career, your job, whatever your path is that has been assigned to you. But one absolute truth when it comes to people that have been chosen for a path is you will never be waiting for somebody outside of you to provide you with something, because the divine has supplied you with everything you need to make it happen yourself. Another way to know if you've been chosen for a particular path is if you've had to go through a lot of struggle in your life, kinds of storms, kinds of darkness that you've had to navigate through as a means to align with your path. And you also understand that this is all a part of it. You know, this world we live in has indoctrinated us to live our lives a particular way, which is really what this devil at the foundation of the root chakra is indicating here. This is everybody being mainlined into the matrix, so to speak. But a part of your awakening journey is you having a very clear understanding of this. You know, the awakening process for individuals that are chosen for a specific path will begin with you feeling the need to cut ties with people, to break away from certain groups, to address certain behavioral patterns that are all the byproduct of the way you've been living inside your current set of circumstances or your reality. You rejecting all of these things outcasts you, and that outcasting is a direct sign that you have been hand-selected for something very specific in this life cycle. What do we have, the sacral, please? Seven of Swords, Aquarius energy at the sacral. This Seven of Swords is really speaking about everything that you're being guided to leave behind. There's a lot of sacrifice that has to take place to align with your mission and your purpose. This is not easy by any means. Generally speaking, the first thing that will begin to happen when you're going through this process are those signs, right? Those clues, those breadcrumbs that the divine is leaving out for you, trying to get your attention. This will spark your curiosity. You'll start wanting to understand more about life, energy, spirituality. Once you've gathered a good enough understanding, you'll start to want to disconnect. You'll start wanting to go into a kind of form of isolation, or rather solitude, as a means to nurture this newfound sense of connection and spirituality that you've been seeking. You see, what I found personally is that when you get inside this kind of space of wanting to know more, the universe responds to you. It's that response that you get from the universe, which is a kind of miracle, it's a kind of magic, starts to spark even more curiosity. It's usually around this time when the divine is guiding you to do that breaking away from those groups, from those toxic friends or family members. You just no longer feel aligned with these people anymore. You start to understand that you may be perceiving things a little bit different from them. And some of you may try and awaken other people around you. In fact, that's pretty much a given when you're going through this process. You want other people to see what you see or what you feel, but it never works. People have to seek it out themselves. People have to nurture that connection themselves with spirit. It's not something that you can hold somebody's hand through. But because there's perception connected to it, they're either going to see it or they're not. Now, what this leads to is you beginning to feel outcasted. People decide that they don't like you anymore. They look for reasons to hate on you. This is when you will start to experience things like slander. And in some cases, people might literally come for you. They're so threatened by you, especially if your path has something to do with exposure of a life that you used to live, right? If there's a story attached to that, people begin to feel threatened by you calling them out. And this is exactly what the Seven of Swords at the sacral position is speaking about. The divine begins to open up the path for you, a path that you feel very passionate about walking down, a path where the divine is leaving you all these different clues. You're just on a hunt for something. That's what the first part of this awakening process feels like you're on a hunt for something, like you're trying to find something. You don't exactly know what it is. You just know that you need to go in the direction that you're being led to go in. This is highly threatening to the people around you, especially close friends and family members, but it all has to do with your light. A divine spark has been ignited from within you, and you have this need, you have this hunger to keep searching for something. It feels as if you have discovered a vast ocean of possibilities that you never had access to before. You feel like you have uncovered a secret, but you couldn't articulate what it is or how you feel even if you tried. You just know that you have something and you have something special. And those around you, they can't quite put their finger on why they don't vibe with you anymore. Vibe, right? Vibration, literally. But they just know that they need to come for you, or you've got to go, or you need to be removed. Whatever it is, it will show up differently for all of you. What do we have at the solar plexus, please? Two of Wands, Aries energy at the solar plexus. And we probably couldn't have asked for a better card to follow everything I just said. I mean, here you are. Literally looking at the world from a different perspective. And as you can see, there's that trickster energy in the background, right? It's as if they can't fool you anymore. And it's coming out right at that solar plexus, which is really speaking about your own personal power. You have this knowing, right? And again, you don't even know what that knowing is. You just know that you've discovered something, and you feel more hope than you've ever felt before. You feel supported by something that you can't even explain. You feel seen. And again, this is what it feels like to go through the first phases of this awakening process. You're also becoming completely consumed with the need to offer something positive to the world that sends out a kind of signal to the universe. And it's around this time you start getting flooded with ideas, downloads. A lot of you won't even realize this is taking place. Sometimes it takes looking back maybe a year after that's actually happened to realize that the divine was working in your life. When I went through my initial awakening, it's so surreal to me. Everything that was happening around me, it was just otherworldly. But it was all the result of my wanting more, my feeling very unsatisfied with where I personally was in my life and just the people I had around me. I figured that there had to be a better way. I didn't want to break bread with these people anymore. I just didn't want to live my life the way they were living their life, just completely based in materialism and constant partying and toxicity. It gets to a point where you can't even be in the same room as these people anymore because there's such a difference in vibration. They feel exposed by your presence, and you feel a sense of sickness, almost disgusted, when you're in their presence. That divine spark that has been ignited inside of you has also ignited something within these people. They're demons. The demons that have been hibernating inside of them. This is when you begin the process of doing the cord cutting and eradicating yourself of as many ties that bind you to these old circles, these old ways of living. You address the behavioral patterns within yourself. You start to connect all of these things to being out of alignment with the path that you're being called to walk down. And as a result, you are outcasted, you are blackballed, and the divine starts the process of stripping you of everything that will not serve you on the path moving forward. This can be called the refiner's fire. This is when the purification takes place. The impurities are removed. Everything is reduced to ashes, and you stand like a piece of gold carved out by the divine, now ready for your mission moving forward. What do we have at the heart, please? Page of Wands, Aries, Leo, Sag energy at the heart. And here you are, kneeling down, examining this uncovered piece of knowledge that the divine has gifted you with. That thing that you were seeking, that feeling that you couldn't articulate, is now beginning to take shape. This Page of Wands is representing the divine blueprint that is transmitted to you by way of downloads and ideas once you have been refined by fire. You have now been led out of the darkness. This newfound perception you have over your reality and life in general, you never even knew existed. You start to understand that there's very much two worlds that we move between at all times. There's the kind of simulation, the matrix that I was speaking about with this devil, right? That's that energy of being indoctrinated into the system of control. And then there's that world of truth, of clarity that you're beginning to access for the first time ever. And as you can see here, there's that trickster back there sitting there looking very disappointed, right? This can represent the family, the friends, everything you're leaving behind, right? You have this newfound perspective that they can't even begin to understand, which leads you to this. You found a doorway to another world, and it's so far out of what their mind can begin to even conceive that rather than try to understand, or rather go on their own journey of self-discovery with that hunger of wanting to understand and know more, they come for you because it's easier for them to do this than to take the other path. See, what you will now begin to realize is that all of the individuals, the circles, the groups, the family members, the friends that you've had to leave behind are cowards. This path you have taken has required that you look in the mirror at yourself and come to terms with the fact that you have been living a life out of alignment with your purpose and your highest good. And there's not a single person listening to this that doesn't have to go through this. Every single one of us has to go through this. We are not born completely awake. The simulation, the matrix, the indoctrination is just that, an indoctrination. We essentially wake up in a kind of spiritual holding cell. This focus on looking at yourself in the mirror as a means to understand that the life you have been living up until this point has been out of alignment with your highest good requires you forgiving yourself, right? You didn't know any better. You didn't have the perspective to even begin to fathom what it is you are beginning to understand in the current moment. This comes with some pain. It's not easy to do this. It's very difficult to do this, but you do it. And during this process, you start to realize that those individuals that are no longer in your life, you could never imagine having to do what you've done yourself. This is when you begin to find it easier to let go of all which doesn't serve you, right? The people, the places, the things, because you know that there's nothing you can do to change any of those people. It's something that they have to discover on their own, which leads you to the Page of Wands. You have just passed one of the hardest tests you will ever be faced with in your life, letting go of a life that does not serve your highest good as a means to fulfill your destiny in this life cycle. What do we have at the throat, please? Perfect. Ace of Cups, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy at the throat. This Ace of Cups is really speaking about a kind of fulfillment, emotional fulfillment. It also speaks about love, but this is not external to you. This is something that you have now found from within. See, when you step onto this path, you begin to feel more fulfilled than you ever have in your life. You don't feel like there's something missing from your life anymore. In fact, you feel like whatever you need to support yourself on this path is readily available to you at all times. You start to play this kind of game with the universe. The universe gives you a download, you take action, and just like magic, another building block for your life appears. And like I mentioned, after you come out of that refiner's fire, you are stripped down. You're not left with a whole lot, but this is when the rebuilding begins. And I can confirm, when I went through the refiner's fire, everything was taken from me. I had very little left. People, friends, family members, a life's worth of material possessions, all taken in the blink of an eye. I was stripped down to the bare necessities during that period of my life. And all I can tell you is that what the divine has helped me build back is so far beyond what I could have ever thought during that period of time. The worries, the fear that I once had in my life, all gone. You know, we always hear about the divine replacing what you've lost, and this is very true. Okay, all of these things we hear are true. They're very possible, but it comes with a great sacrifice at the beginning of this journey. It requires great patience from you. It requires great dedication. The less you falter, the quicker the rebuilding. You really determine how long all of this takes. But one thing is for sure, if you remain dedicated, and again, you don't falter, you will get to a point where you look back and you'll feel like you're living in a completely different reality. You'll feel like all the struggles of your past never happened. Life is magic. It's all around us. And this is also something you begin to realize, is that you have access to these kind of magical powers that no one on that previous timeline has any idea how to even begin trying to understand how you do it. When you're on this path, you become a walking, talking miracle. You become the example. And again, if you're asking yourself, have I been chosen for something? If you're asking yourself, is there a kind of anointing on my life? Well, do any of these things that I'm saying resonate with you? Do they sound like things you have been through? Do they sound like things you're going through? What do we have at the third eye? Wow. Unbelievable. 7 of Cups at the third eye. The illusion ends. Your third eye is all connected to your vision. It's the way you perceive your reality. It's how we see beyond the material world. It's responsible for this direct connection that we have with the divine. This vision that you have to see beyond works in tandem with your intuition to help guide you through this world, through this density. The 7 of Cups is speaking about a kind of filter that has been ripped off of your third eye, right? You just see and experience your world completely different. This is also when you start to understand what timeline jumping is. This has been coming up in all the readings for a while now, but to reiterate what I'm picking up here for all of you is you really having a deeper understanding of what that means to timeline jump. It's like when you do this, you kind of say to yourself, oh, that's what timeline jumping is. See, all it is you living inside the same world that we're living in right now, but the way you interface with it is completely different. You've essentially taken the driver's seat. That's another way of speaking about it, right? It's like your previous life, right? The way you were experiencing life before, you weren't really in the driver's seat. You were in the passenger seat. But now you have taken the wheel, and this is why there's no more fear, because you can see where you're going, and you know when there's a turn up ahead, and you know that you have your hands firmly planted on that steering wheel. And when you have your hands firmly planted on that steering wheel, it's a whole different experience than being in the passenger seat. Or like these people that you've left behind who are very much in the back seat, right? They have no idea what's going on. See, that reality you've left behind, the devil is in the driver's seat, right? The indoctrination. And see how they're shackled to the devil here? That's very much the energy of not being in the driver's seat of your life. And as I'm developing through this reading, this is a perfect addition to the collective reading I did a couple days ago. It's just picking up on more details and different perspectives. And these messages are coming through in a very potent manner because it's very important that people understand now is the time. Less talking about what you're going to do and more action. That Seven of Cups at the third eye position, well, that's an energy of self-delusion. It's an energy of escapism. It's complete indulgence. Always talking about what they're going to do but never do. These are people who fall for the temptations of the world, which keep them indoctrinated and shackled to Baphomet right there. See how this individual here is enjoying all the spoils of life, right? With the snake wrapped around his waist. Very greedy kind of energy here. And see how Christ is underneath that cloth? It's like he's thrown that cloth over Christ. I won't be needing you. I'd rather have all these spoils. A lot of these people that you're dealing with have had every opportunity that you've had, but blew it. They've either squandered it in some capacity, or they just turned their back on God altogether for some sort of material gain. In other words, the devil got to them, and his offer was tantalizing in the sense that there was seemingly no work that they would have to put in to access what the devil was promising them. But you see, the devil always comes to collect. And the work that these individuals will have to put in when the devil comes to collect eclipses anything that the divine required of you to break free of the devil's shackles to begin with. These individuals will be put through horrendous struggle. I just heard poverty for some of them, whether it's material, emotional, spiritual, usually comes in all different forms when you bend a knee to the devil, and it will last their lifetime. These individuals will have front row seat to witness what you have accomplished on your path as someone who didn't choose the easy way out. While you were being put through the refiner's fire, they pointed, they laughed, they outcasted you. It's usually around this time that the guilt starts to settle in. These individuals are having to live with themselves for what they put you through. Typically, they'll receive some kind of karma that comes back to them in different forms so they can feel that pain that you felt. It'll always come with interest. It's just the way it is. What do we have at the crown, please? Oh, wow. Unbelievable. Literally followed what I said. 5 of Wands, Leo energy. So 5 of Wands is all connected to obstacles and challenges that they brought on your path. But the 5 of Wands from this deck, they've put their wands down. They're not fighting, right? They're like, oh, crap. Joke's on us. They realize now that they've been had. The devil had them come against you in whatever capacity they did, and all they did was set themselves up. I feel that a lot of you are starting to experience a kind of exposure around a lot of people right now. It's almost as if what you always knew and felt about these people, other people are starting to know and feel as well. You know, there is this point on your path where you feel outcasted in a sense where you can't really talk to anybody about what you've gone through because maybe you're afraid that individuals won't believe you or they won't understand, or you may alienate people from wanting to be around you or even talk to you to begin with. I went through this. Very difficult. But the best way to navigate this is to either keep things to yourself for a little while or put it into your purpose, right? Help other people navigate those difficult situations that you yourself have overcome. The path of the healer. Healing people with what you yourself have overcome. And I mentioned this in the most recent collective reading, right? This is the most effective way to overcome that kind of energy. And usually when you do that and you start to experience a positive response to it, everything begins to kind of click into place. You start to have this sense that everything had to happen exactly the way it did to get you to where you are in that moment. You start to see the divine plan, the divine calling, the divine guidance that surrounds you. There's nothing more powerful than putting purpose and meaning behind the struggles that you transmute back to the universe that can help empower other individuals. Nothing is more powerful than that. If you can navigate your life like this, the sky's the limit. There's just nothing you can't access. because the divine will start to recognize you as somebody who has an understanding of how life works, and you will be provided with whatever you need to keep functioning inside of that space. This can also be called the abundant mindset, because it really speaks about you being in a kind of giving and receiving with the universe, which speaks further on that Six of Pentacles that I saw at the beginning of the reading. When you have aligned your life with that kind of energy, not only are you given access to a vast, unending sea of ideas and downloads, but you have a cloak of protection that surrounds you. And this is truly when no weapons that form against you shall prosper. And this is speaking about this Five of Wands, right? It's like an energy of, well, it's like they have egg on their face. They were so busy forming weapons against you, they didn't see what was coming up from behind them. They failed to notice how the divine was positioning you. When you finally find yourself in this space, it will feel like it happened in a blink of an eye. Your circumstances just turn around so quickly. Everything has changed, and this is another way of speaking about timeline jumping. It almost feels like from one day to the next or 1 year to the next, you're up and they're down. You're in a position that they never would have ever thought you would be in, right? It's like they're sitting around kicking themselves. I didn't know that they were chosen for this path. This is usually when they're beginning to understand that coming against you was just about the worst thing they could have ever done, because coming against you is coming against the divine's will for your life. And coming against the divine's will for your life is coming against the big G. What do we have at the foundation, please? Strength. Leo energy at the foundation. Vine. So the strength from this deck is being read in its negative polarity. This is an energy of disgrace. This is an individual or individuals in your life that abuse their power with you. Maybe they were family members or individuals that were put in a position to provide something for you, so the divine could use you as a vessel to test them, right? I'm picking up something here surrounding friends, I feel, for a lot of you that took advantage of you, took advantage of your kindness, saw it as a weakness, just drained you of your time, your energy, your light. You may have literally had some issues financially with some friends or family members. I'm picking up something about individuals ripping you off, people that you thought you could trust. You just didn't even think that that was a possibility. Maybe you did some work for a friend, or maybe you helped a family member and they were supposed to reciprocate with something, maybe pay you or compensate you for your time. I'm picking up something like that here. And it's coming out right underneath that devil. So I feel that a lot of these events that are taking place, or maybe these have already taken place for you, it really depends where you are in accordance with what I'm picking up here, where you are on the journey, so to speak. But these events always unfold in a way to expose individuals to you, right? And they seemingly happen back to back. It's like they all happen at once. Makes you feel like you're doing something wrong, right? But you're not. It's just the divine waking you up to the truth about these individuals that you have around you. It's like they're all essentially the same, right? It's like they have these demons inside of them that have been hibernating, like I was saying, and now they're all coming to life. Again, they come to life when that divine spark ignites in you, right? So it's like you just start to see all at once how badly you have been taken advantage of and used by people. And maybe you had been noticing little hints here and there, but you suppressed it, like, nah, maybe it's just me. That's a big thing that a lot of you will go through during this process as well. You blame yourself. And again, that's another space where that forgiveness will have to come through, right? You have to forgive yourself for not allowing yourself to see the truth, not allowing yourself to see what the divine was trying to illuminate to you. But just know, nobody gets this right the first time around, okay? We all mess this one up. Waking up in this capacity is, well, it's the most difficult thing you'll go through in your life, okay? There's nothing harder than this, because it's a complete tearing down of what you thought life was. The way you perceive certain people was all false. It was fake. And that's a very hard truth to accept. And throughout the course of this reading, I've been feeling a tremendous amount of pressure in my throat and a lot of tension in my shoulders. It was happening right around here, and now it started to happen again here. And I feel it's because of this devil that I have at the foundation. This message is not a message that they want getting out, because this particular message here is going to help spark a lot of ideas for people. Okay? What do we have at the sacral, please? Okay, I only read these in their upright position because I read them in their negative polarity anyway, okay? So, Seven of Cups, Scorpio energy, Oze. And do you guys see how my camera, it's like it's slowed down? That's that restriction I'm feeling here. That's so weird. It was happening at the beginning of the reading, and now it's happening again. And I think that's only happened maybe once or twice ever. There's this heavy, restrictive energy here. It's like something is trying to make it very difficult for me to get this message out to all of you. I need to stop and hit record again on my phone for that to go away. Okay, there we go. So this Seven of Cups here is the exact same positioning as this. It's read as Seven of Cups, essentially as a reversal. And on this card, right, a leopard can't change their spots. So that Seven of Cups, that's that energy of self-delusion, escapism, right? That's what they're in. And you see, the path that you're on makes them feel outed, right? They don't want to be told that they've been living a lie. And seemingly to them, it's easier to come for you than it is to wake up from the lie. And all I can tell you is based on experience and what your circumstances are and the kinds of people you may be dealing with or the kinds of evil that may be trying to come against you, you cannot begin to even possibly imagine the extent that some of these people will go to shut you up. People completely lose themselves witnessing your awakening. And this is really what we've been witnessing on the world stage as well. Makes perfect sense, right? It's like there's a worldwide awakening going on and there's pure chaos everywhere. We hear these crazy stories about people trying to take people out, right? Families trying to take out family members, just pure chaos, okay? So some of you are obviously going to have it much worse than others. Everybody has a different path. But at the end of the day, you need to come to terms with that. You need to come to terms with the fact that people feel slighted by the path that you are on, by the fact that you have this divine connection and that divine light has been ignited inside of you. And rather than trying to put the work in to access it themselves, they would rather do whatever they can to put it out inside of you so they don't ever have to face the truth of the way they've really been living their life. And right on the bottom of the deck, Five of Wands, right? So there's that energy of them coming for you. Five of Wands, but these are very different. This Five of Wands is after they've tried to come for you. And this Five of Wands is showing us very clearly and confirming what I just said, that they came for you or they're coming for you. The Five of Wands represents the battle, the discord, right? They see you as competition now. But again, these people are cowards, so rather than actually do things like facing you, they'll form weapons from the shadows, right? Just try and create strife in your life. What do we have? The solar plexus? Oh, perfect. Two of Wands, Epis, right? And doesn't it look like he's just sneaking around, right? Like in the shadows, sneaking up on you? Two of Wands stacked with Two of Wands. Here you are, seeing things from this different perspective, standing in your personal power. And there's that trickster energy in the background, right? It's like he's sitting there thinking about what he's going to do to you now, right? Yeah. Huh. Okay, how can I stop this from happening? It's like this is what they're thinking about doing or what they're doing, right? It's like they're trying to form weapons against you from within the shadows. This Two of Wands is suggesting that they want to create some sort of conflict in your life so you lose control. It's also something that's very unexpected. Now we can see very clearly that their whole focus is on you. What do we have at the heart, please? Wow. Zepar. Treason and revolt, right? Betrayal. It's like they're rebelling against you. You know, some of these people are so out of their mind that they think that they can replace you with themselves as a means to take over your divine calling. And this Lovers from this deck is representing more discord, more imbalance. It's an energy of disharmony. It's also an energy of misaligned values, right? So it really just further emphasizes how you feel. You have misaligned values with these people. I can't tell you the importance of removing yourself from people's lives who you have misaligned values with. Don't put up with that, okay? All you're doing is holding yourself back from your intended path to appease another individual. See, that's a big thing we have to overcome as well, right? A lot of people who have a calling over their life, before they realize they have a true calling over their life, they'll be in these karmic cycles where they're people pleasers, right? You just want to keep the peace. You just want to keep people happy, right? This is when you give too much to yourself and people are taking advantage of you, and the divine comes through and wakes you up, props you on your path, right? It's like a Cinderella kind of energy. It's exactly what this is here. Perfect. Hakamiya. Strength. Leo energy, loyalty, right? There's the divine lifting you up onto your path. This is an energy of fortitude and inner strength. It's an energy of courage, right? So we had the strength card here and its negative polarity. Now we have it here and its positive polarity. And this leads us into the outcome, okay? So very interesting how this strength is underneath this devil here. It's like that's the energy that they use to try and come against you. The polar opposite of the energy that you're using to step through the portal and onto the new timeline. Strength. They wanted you to think that you were too weak. They wanted you to doubt yourself. They wanted you to keep suppressing the urge, the feeling that's been trying to ignite itself from within, that divine spark, that voice that you've been hearing. They wanted you to keep pushing that down. They wanted you to think that you were just a nobody, that there's no significance to you or your life. I'm telling you right now, if you've ever felt that way and you're still surrounded by these kinds of people, well, this message is definitely for you, because I can tell you based on experience, that's how I used to feel. I used to feel insignificant. I used to feel like I wasn't seen. I used to feel misunderstood. I used to feel like it would make no difference if I was here or if I was gone, but I always felt something calling me from within. Ever since I was a child, I felt that. And then sure enough, that thing that was calling me from within happened to be the voice of the divine, telling me that I was incarnated into a life cycle where I was in a kind of energetic prison, surrounded by demons, people that were keeping me from my path, from this higher calling. And now, as I look back on that life when I felt like there was no significance to my existence, I could see the truth in plain sight. That the reason why I felt that way, the reason why it was so strong, is because of the huge calling over my life. And this is the same for a lot of you out there. So I say all this to let you know that the lower they make you feel, the higher you're meant to soar. That's why they're trying to keep you boxed in that space. Don't define yourself based on all the things you could have been. What do we have at the throat, please? 3 of Cups. EIL. The right hand of God. Fame and renown influences commerce, voyages, and great discoveries. And whenever I get this card, it's like you're coming up as this divine child of the universe. And this is representing the universe, right? Your guides, the divine, protecting you, right? Showing you just how significant you are. The right hand of God, fame and renown, right? Literally just followed what I said. And it's right underneath that Ace of Cups, right? It's like the divine saying to you, yeah, you've been trapped inside a karmic cycle with all these demons. They were trying to program you into thinking that you were just a nobody, when in fact, you have this huge calling over your life. And you stepping into alignment with that calling brings complete exposure and destruction to the lie they have been living. Although a lot of you may feel lonely at times, but there's not a whole lot of people around anymore because you've stepped into alignment with your path. You have to understand that you have so much divine support around you. guides all around you at all times, trying to keep you busy working inside your mission, right? So you don't have to feel lonely. It's like they're always there trying to engage you with new ideas. Now is a good time to really focus on the few people you do have in your life, right? It's all about quality over quantity, right? Just a couple of really great friends. Get rid of the fair weather friends, the people that aren't going to be there when things get tough. They have no place in your life. And if that means that you're left with no friends, then so be it. Things will work out the way they're supposed to. But no matter how big or small your friend group may be, when you were on assignment, functioning inside of your purpose as a means to fulfill your mission and complete your destiny in this life cycle, you have a supportive army around you that you have access to at all times. I find praying and just sometimes sitting and talking to God out loud, which I do a lot, just kind of talk to him like he's sitting next to me like a friend, right? I'll ask him how he's doing as well, which is not something that people really do, right? But it just speaks about becoming more personable with the Most High. This is a very empowering mindset to construct for yourself. And rarely will you find yourself feeling lonely when you nurture this kind of connection with Source. What do we have at the third eye? Too many cards. What do we have at the third eye? Wheel of Fortune, Metatron, the recording angel. Advancement and progress, teaches, guides, and records events in the book of life. This is an energy of destiny. Speaks about this timeline jumping, these life cycles. Speaks about this vision, that calling that you've always had, right? You always knew that there was something significant that you were being called to in your life. And this is exactly what this represents. See, everything that the simulation, the matrix, so to speak, which really just represents the restriction that we all deal with, but its whole purpose is to keep you from your purpose. That's why it's there. It's to keep you from seeing the truth. But this Wheel of Fortune is showing us very clearly that no matter what weapons are formed against you, no matter how hard the restrictions you may face are, and no matter what forms of deep gaslighting tactics they use against you, they cannot stop you. A lot of you have stayed true, no matter how difficult your path has become. You've always had that divine tether, no matter how dark it became or no matter how deep you went into these karmic cycles. There was something always connecting you to Source, to home. That's what it feels like. When you go through this process, you feel like you're at home, but it's a feeling that comes from within. Again, this falls under that umbrella of the abundant mindset. It's like you have everything you need within you, wherever you are. You know that as long as you have that, you're able to access anything you need. As long as you have that connection with Source, no matter what you go through in your life, you can connect and find a secret passage doorway out of whatever difficulties you may be going through in your life. And this Wheel of Fortune, the recording angel, is also letting us know that everything that happened to you, everything you've had to go through, has been accounted for. Everything was seen. And the way you have been moving in your life has also not gone unnoticed. This is why you have a tremendous amount of positive karma supporting you on your path now moving forward. I feel that a lot of you are going to start to see all this materialize. There's a lot of good luck, and Wheel of Fortune is the energy of fortune coming into your life, whether it's by way of downloads that the divine gives you so you can implement things into your waking life that bring you the fortune, or they align you with different opportunities. Sky is really the limit. That's the kind of energy that you are stepping into if you haven't already. What do we have at the crown to close out the reading? Wow, perfect ending. The Tower. Mars, Aries, Scorpio energy, Uriel, the fire of God, disruption, warns of disasters, aids in transformation. So this is speaking about what's coming through now, right? You've removed yourself from the cycle And now the tower comes through and brings a destruction to these individuals' reality, the way they've been living their life. Another energy of disgrace. There's a lot of exposure here. See, this really reinforces what I was saying, right? By any means necessary, they'll keep you from this path because they know, or they have a feeling, that if you were ever to find out the truth, it would be over for them. And, you know, depending on what kind of weapons they formed against you, this can be severe. You know, I've heard some stories. I've experienced myself in my own personal life, some things that you guys just couldn't even begin to conceive, okay? Your path will bring literal demons out of people. It's like from one day to the next, the possession just completely consumes these individuals. They'll lose all sense of humanity to shut you up or silence you. But the only guaranteed way of protecting yourself is by taking the path that I have just outlined here for all of you. Because until you take the bull by the horns and step into your mission and purpose, these energies can still access you. So this is why now more than ever, it's go time. So again, remember, less talk, more action. It's time to make it happen. This is the message I have available to all of you, depending on where you are on this timeline, should you choose to accept. I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you would like a personal reading, you can find all of my contact details in the description below this video. And thank you for your donations. Take care.